Gender-based violence is a long-standing issue in the country, with the growing number of efforts in development by the government, members of civil society, individuals and organizations as well. Government reports an increase in gender-based violence reports, as we mentioned, amounting to around 87,000 calls received in just the first 8 days of the 21-day lockdown. Now, joining us on the line to talk more about this is Acting DG of the Ministry in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. Her name is Ms. Shoki Tshabalala. Shoki, thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Dawn. Really appreciate your time. Now, gender-based violence continues to be a very serious and persistent issue in this country. How has the lockdown further implicated the rise in GBV incidents?
Well, we have seen or noticed increased reporting at our gender-based violence command center, but also with some of the NPOs that are working quite closely with government. They've indicated that there is increased reporting in terms of gender-based violence. But we've been making a call for action and appealing to society at large, reminding men in particular that women's rights are human rights, and also requesting that can men and women live in coexistence during this period in particular, and also beyond the lockdown period. Your home is supposed to be a safe haven. There is no need for men to be beating up wives and pushing them away with their children. Of course, we do have shelters that are available for abused women, but it shouldn't be the case. Why should we allow a situation where women are always subjected to all forms of abuse at the hands of men? We are calling for harsher sentences. We have issued a media statement, and we are on social media trying to promote the numbers that women can use, those that have access to their phone, cell phones in particular. The command center number that I will be mentioning just now, the number by the Commission on Gender Equality, they also have a hotline. Apps like your Namola app that a woman can use, and it will immediately link up with SAPS, give them the geolocation, and they can immediately dispatch police to respond and come to your rescue. But also to sensitize and work with SAPS at all times that if the woman is on the street during this period, making an attempt to walk to the police station, do not further subject that woman to secondary victimization. Assist that woman, transport her to the nearest police station, make sure that she gets assisted in terms of a protection order or access to the nearest court, because those are some of the essential services that are being provided, so that you either lay a charge against that person or you are being assisted and be removed to the shelter. So we are really making an appeal, but one woman is just too many to be abused during this period. Can we stop this, and can we refrain from creating further problems when we are addressing a humanitarian crisis of COVID-19 at this point in time? We really don't need to be going that route as a society.
DG, I'm looking at these stats, and obviously it is estimated figures, but I'm trying to put together, do we have enough interventions in place to deal with this sort of influx? Do we have enough shelters, for instance, with a sort of influx?
Shelters are available, and it's not only shelters. We do have what we call green doors as well as white doors. Members of the community should be aware of those services by now in their communities. We're working very closely with the NPO sector. You are not alone. If you find yourself in such a situation and the police are taking you to the nearest NPO that we normally call NGOs providing such services, they have a referral matrix. We've developed a pathway for victims. We are very clear as to what are we supposed to do when you arrive at the police station, what would be the referral matrix, who are the next people that you need to be linked up with so that you get the right services. So as government, the machinery of government is activated. It is well poised to respond to the incidents of gender-based violence, supported by the NPO sector, because we cannot do this alone as government. The role of civil society is very important. But we've also received good responses from the private sector, offering space for us to partner with them and make sure that those services are offered in the form of shelters. We just have to work with social development in the coming week quickly and check what form of registration can be done quickly, what are the regulations saying, and how do we move those women to those additional shelters. But we haven't had a situation where the shelters are saying we are full. The only challenge is when a woman is abused and they are locked in their house and their phones are taken from them, what next? Because it's in a household setting. So what we are trying to suggest is that engage your children, make them aware of your situation. One of them should be able to run to the neighborhood or make sure that they alert other people, your family, your friends, that if I call during this time, you must know that I have a problem, whatever the case may be. Build a network around you, because sometimes you make an assumption that all women have cell phones at their disposal at that point in time, and that is not the case. Hence, the statement that we have released begins to provide various avenues and safety hints for women to consider, so that as and when that moment hits, you know what are the options at hand and what is it that you can do. But it is really unnecessary. Can we appeal and request men to stop abusing women?
DG, my final question before I let you go, I just want to know, is there plans for these sort of harsh actions and these interventions that have been put in place during lockdown? Are there plans for these plans to continue post-lockdown when COVID-19 is behind us? Can we expect the government to be so proactive?
Definitely. Cabinet has just approved a national strategic plan just a week or so before we were hit by COVID-19. And in the next few days, we should be convening an interministerial committee that Cabinet has approved. It's just that you can see everybody now is locked down into COVID-19 just to make sure that there is a coherent response, but without neglecting GBV matters. We will be convening an interministerial committee. We will be setting up a council for gender-based violence and femicide that will be monitoring the implementation of the National Strategic Plan. We have very clear targets and indicators that are time-bound, that will be measurable, and we will ensure that there is a secretariat that works with us in providing technical support, in monitoring the work that government committed to do in working on this matter in partnership with civil society. We have worked out some funding mechanisms. We have made provision for funding. Soon the NPO sector will be receiving additional funding to begin to respond to the issue. So yes, all government departments are now wearing a gender lens. Our medium-term strategic framework is also gendered. It's such that there is no way you will begin to plan without applying a gender lens, and in particular ensuring that you are GBV responsive and that you are gender transformative in the way you do your business. So on that score, at a strategic level, we are quite convinced that we are ready. Can we just have a moment, also balance the issues with COVID, but also not forgetting that there is a gender perspective to COVID-19. We are members of the National Joint Committee, Net Joint, where we make sure that issues of gender do not fall through the cracks at all times, from sheltering to responses and all of that. So I can commit and request members to say we are going to make sure that all of these issues are fully integrated into the annual performance plans and the 5-year plans of the department, because that process has already started unfolding.
Ms. Shoki Tshabalala, thank you so much for joining us. Just to quickly give us the phone numbers that people can get in touch with if they want to report any GBV issues within their family.
The command center line is 08000 428 428.
08000 428 428. That's the command center hotline. Ms. Shoki Tshabalala, thank you so much.
And but also it has a please call me facility, which is *120 *7867#.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That was Acting Director General of the Ministry in the Presidency for Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities, Ms. Shoki Tshabalala.